Hey, greetings to the body of the people. This man called Chris Dorsey. Welcome to the final episode of the Militia Intelligence Report. Again, this is the final episode of the Militia Intelligence Report. We're going to keep broadcasting. However, not not in this way. Not in the way that we are currently broadcasting. So, just to let everybody know, we are on Blog Talk Radio and we are on Facebook Live. Um, Last week's episode was very important. So, I want to recap last week's episode. Um, we were discussing the green swan scenario. There's enough folks out there that are documenting the fact that the coronavirus was not the threat uh, that the government and the media hyped it up to be. I, I mean, in some ways, in the actual way that it does not seem like it's going to kill as many folks as greetings, Shannon Lee, as folks were predicting, and so yeah, they say like 60,000. That's less than last year's flu in the United States. That's fine. That's not really the key point. It is real in this way that the the freedom of assembly was really shut down by the government, and that the the economy for everyone was constricted, except for those who are still shorting the market. They're getting all of that money, all of that so-called, I don't know, injections, Fed injections that are coming by the trillions and trillions and trillions that have not yet been sent out. So to the people, I should say, to the population, that money's already in the banks. That money's already been distributed to those corporations and individuals that get 0% interest loans. And all this while, it's not going to be. They're alleging on Wednesday. They're alleging on Wednesday that the first of the $1,200 checks shall go out. So we do have a lot of news to cover, but I am letting everybody know this is the last uh, militia intelligence report, and the reason is because I'm tired of um, giving all this information for free, and we can't even get folks watching the show to share it, or we get very few individuals who will even click like or share the show, much less finance this. We are talking about uh, a feasible way to lawfully restore rational life on the planet, and we were acting by the honor system, i.e., I figured we would be able to at least maintain a level of participation and donations to keep everything going. But I mean, I work for literally a couple $1,000s a year, and so that's it. I mean, we can't even get people to like and share. So I mean, we're gonna keep doing it, but I'm not gonna give all this good analysis away for free. You guys wouldn't have made the connections to the Green Swan. Basically, that if one wishes to comprehend what's going on in the financial world right now, read that book, The Green Swan. All you have to do is like read the overview of each chapter. It's a 130-page book. We told you. We told you, hey, the government, underground bases. I mean, I wrote that in the Militia Handbook. Again, I mean, I can say 10 times the amount of people have read that book for free than have paid for it. And as soon as the book was published, it was available for free on the internet. So, I mean, it just shows you what's going on. Hey, it's not my information ultimately. It's ultimately God's information. It's ultimately smarter people than myself that have learned this and aggregated this information. But it's being presented to folks in a really unambiguous way. And as I was talking to my neighbors last night, I stated to them that 15 years ago, I decided, hey, this society, it cannot be restored. It has no redeeming qualities, and I don't I don't wish to have anything to do with it except for bringing it down to its knees and properly punishing those who have leadership positions, who are decision makers in this devil system. I mean, how are sociopathic, psychopathic, tyrannical system, devil system, synagogue of Satan. I mean, folks, if I'm wrong about how to describe this stuff, please correct me. But I, you know, I haven't seen any proper corrections. As soon as someone else is speaking about things more relevant than I, or taking more relevant actions than I, that's when I shall follow someone else. Up until that point, I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you guys. And I'm not going to make it impossible for folks to get what the truth is here. I just can't rely on the honor system and be able to feed myself and my dog. So I can't rely on the honor system for anyone to do the honorable thing, and or very few to do the honorable thing. Not enough for me to, properly, get things done. Um, as far as anything beyond just giving out the truth for free, giving out the best analysis. When folks are confused about stuff, they go like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" We tell you what's going on, and we state like, "Hey, if you think you know what's going on better, tell us." We never hear it, never. Usually, we just hear, filthy, obscenity laced, stupid comments, or the same, government agents that repeat stupid talking points when they get on the air. Rarely do we get anything else. I mean, we'll open it up since it's the last time, but hey, you know what? As soon as I open it up, who knows who's going to call? Number 646-668-2151. Again, this is the last militia intelligence report, and we'll transition, and we're not gonna let folks watch and steal this information or disregard it for free anymore. It's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I mean, I found out after looking into it that I made $2,000 last year, and also the worst part about it is my work is disappearing off the internet. That's the worst part about it. I mean, several years ago, I was getting paid by Google. Now I can't even keep my stuff up on Google. Channel after channel gets deleted, replaced by folks telling you part of the information that I was telling you years ago, and then leading you in the in the exact wrong direction. I mean, that's worse. That's worse. That's worse than having no money. That's worse than that. Because time is more valuable than money. That's what I'm angry about the most. Is that this is out there, that folks didn't properly appreciate it. They didn't go on and take the next step. They didn't even walk along. They forced everyone to drag them, and now look where we are. I mean, I told y'all a few weeks ago, um, that it's too late. You know, these idiots here in Virginia are going, we're going to form a militia to protect the sheriffs and the blah blah blah. It's too late, guys. It's done. They took away everybody's freedom. They just did it. They're doing it right now. And look who did it. Man, would you ever listen to any of these chumps? If your life didn't depend on you listening to them, i.e., not that they'll keep you safe and follow their lead, i.e., they're leading you to a freaking killing floor, and basically everyone is just saying, well, I'll enjoy the mindless walk while I'm contemplating my own death at their hands. It's basically like, hey, kill me now or kill me later. They're not leading you anywhere good. They're leading you to a killing floor. So we can't do it anymore. We said, hey, this is what the militia is. It's not something that needs to be formed. It's a political concept that must be enforced. The militia is the body of the people controlling the deadly weapons of war. It's not a bunch of LARPing chumps running through a wood with their expensive ass gear. It's not that. Our gear is expensive, and it's paid for by US tax dollars. And if that is not the case, if the body of the people don't control the weapons of war and the issuance of currency, they have nothing but their own slavery. If the body of the people don't control the weapons of war and the issuance and valuation of the currency, the body of the people are slaves. But that can never be, because the body of the people, as folks have learned on this show, it's not just, they meant landowning white men. No, 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 no. No, that's not what it meant. That's not what it meant at all. It didn't just mean men either. We the people did not just mean men. It didn't just mean white men. Conceivably, it could be black men and women. But it means those who have a bloodline claim to the legitimate monarchy, to be the monarch of England, United Kingdom, Europe as a whole, too. Because all those families, they all have the same claim. Because most of them are related. That's not a bad thing, because the same could be said for any nation of people. For example, maybe not related like all the quote unquote Ashkenazi, because they're all fourth and fifth cousins. We got Clifford on the line. Excellent. All right. Let's see if we can hear Cliff. Sorry, Cliff. Cliff, can you?
I'm on the line.
Okay, cool. I can hear you. Hopefully they can hear you on Facebook Live, and I'll periodically repeat what Clifford says. We're also broadcasting on Blog Talk Radio. So if you can't hear us well, or you can't hear Clifford well, or there's some sort of sound problem that may develop, you can always go there. I don't wish to keep hearing this like 20 minutes later. Oh, the sound is no good, and then somebody else saying, "Oh, the sound is fine."
Sorry to interrupt, but the reason I'm calling late, I was looking for the Facebook Live, and that never showed up, at least not on my profile.
Okay, yeah, I started it late, but yeah, we're on now. We got some folks on the line, listening certainly, and basically, I got back late from walking Max, and so I just did everything on my phone, and so I just started broadcasting
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I see it now.
Yeah,
They, for whatever reason, just did not notify me as they usually do, or most of the times do, let's say.
certainly, yeah. So we were just going. I don't know how much you've heard on the blog talk, but we're just going over the fact that, hey, we're gonna start broadcasting, and it's gonna be a service that folks are gonna pay for, because it just is not working, to operate this for free, and that, basically, the honor system didn't work. Our experiment, like, there's no experiment that fails, because, like, whatever the outcome, that's got to be the outcome. However, we tried very hard to, and I just want to get your thoughts on it, because I want to give you the recap, about this, and then we'll get into more about the mission, about what we're doing, and transitioning from exclusively militia related items, i.e., that being the militia being a political concept rather than a bunch of guys running around in the woods larping, meaning that the body of the people must control the weapons of war, and then by doing so, will have the only leverage to uh, to regulate the valuation of the currency, control the money. So only through control of the weapons of war can the body of the people control the money, and vice versa, of course. So us working with no budget and putting in, I'll speak for myself, 50, 60 hours a week on work. I would say that would be conservatively for, I mean, like I said, less than $2,000 a year in compensation. Um, when I attempt to sell my book, 10 times the amount of people have read it for free on the internet that have paid, and it was all outside of my control, up on the internet for free the absolute first day it was published. So the honor system has failed. So we're going to have to transition, and Clifford and I already talked about this. Um, mm, hey, all right. I don't know what's going on here, but I just had to block Glenn Sutphin. Um, he is a REMF. I don't know what that is. Don't listen to him. He'll get you to something while he sits back and cowers. Now, I there's video evidence that Glenn cowers while I'm doing stuff, and he buddies up with the cops, and he admitted to me that he was some kind of government snitch. But that's a joke, Glenn, and you know it. And that guy certainly wouldn't be saying that if he wasn't like halfway across the freaking state, tucking his tail and getting out of Richmond. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but it's certainly REMF. I, I I don't know. I have no idea, but I do think that's funny. And and like I was saying, like if anybody thinks that I'm the one that's been cowering, I mean, I've never seen anybody confront these criminals the way I do. It is a freaking joke. It is an absolute joke. Anyhow, let's get back to the uh, um, the mission. The mission is time is everyone's most valuable commodity, and um, it's not like giving this information out for free is um, is even benefiting those who are getting the information. They just they just consume it like they consume everything else, and it's in one ear and out the other. And then a lot of these guys will, you know, represent the information as if it is theirs. And so basically, I'm working for free to make other folks money. And yeah, we don't wish to do that anymore. We got to finance our operation and and you know, keep things moving forward. And it's, you know, I think maybe folks will value it more if we charge a moderate price for our work. I mean, because the honor system is not working. We've covered the most important issues facing humanity, and done dangerous work. I mean, there's video evidence of all of that dangerous work that, you know, that you guys out there will never have to endure. And so, yeah, why you're not you guys aren't worth it. You got the honor system didn't work. Cliff, go ahead. I mean, your thoughts, because I mean we're transitioning.
I mean, there's really nothing much left to say. Like pearls before swine, we got to change that. I mean, I do find it interesting. I mean, this is a little aside, but I mean, I'm trying to still produce some content. I mean, my phone just got cracked, so it's not that it was a particularly up to date DARPANET device to begin with, but I posted a video because I know. So one of these, I guess you can call it monarch mind control, medium mind control rappers. Guy who goes by the name Machine Gun Kelly. He's been dealing with the so-called quarantine by producing a lot of content. He's been very creative. And I noticed his numerology that he was in a 3 personal year, and I'll expedite this pretty quickly. And that's about creativity. So often when 3 appears in people's charts or in their cycles, they're dominated by a creative muse to create art, self-expression, that kind of thing. 1 is masculine energy, the father. 2 is feminine energy, the mother. God is makes the child. The child is the creative expression. So I'm making a video about that, just saying, yeah, I thought this was interesting. Oh, also, by the way, U.S. patent for coronavirus. Doesn't seem to be anyone's really suffering. There's no real pandemic. It's a pandemic. There's new video out, or there's more video out about death manipulation, the death count manipulation. And the first comment I get is something that says coronavirus.sexyegirl.com. That's the first and only comment I've gotten on that video.
Cool.
And I'm really sorry if you hear some background noise about out on the street.
Yeah, go ahead, Cliff. It's not bad.
Canvas, actually, but that's not here nor there. But yeah, so I'm just wondering what folks are up to. Why is the first comment I'm getting on a video about spiritual sciences and how it connects with even in these celebrities' lives, because everyone's lives. And I get some sort of like porn comment, sort of selling, and that's the thing you and I were talking about, Chris. That everyone is they've got, even if people don't have as much money as they did, they have enough money to pay for things they value. And what the majority seems to value are things like drugs, cannabis. Not that cannabis shouldn't be valued, but Netflix, premium Snapchat, so sex work services or sexual gratification based services. But no one seems to value this information enough to offer to donate. So again, the honor system has failed. So it's time to put this behind a paywall, and for those who actually value it and want to continue to get this information, the highest quality version of it, that is, you have to give us some money, or more to give Chris some money. Fund the operation. You have to fund.
Yeah.
Quality cost, as they said when I briefly worked at Whole Foods. Quality cost, and if you guys want this quality information and to improve the quality of the presentation, it's gonna cost.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have a studio like and equipment like some of these guys that come out of nowhere. But really, it doesn't matter. Like the information, you folks can hear it. Hey, we got a caller calling through, so we'll give him. I'm not remembering any of the numbers anymore. Um, Again, we're gonna get out of this phase of just randomly. Hey, I mean, if you guys want to ask information, I get that all the time. Folks go like, I get this from messages on YouTube. Hey, you've got really interesting analysis. Can you help me make money? Can you help me predict what's going on so I can benefit from it? Can you give me free information so I can make money? And you can't. Um, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Hey, can I call up your show and have you waste your time and listen to me scream obscenities, um, foul obscenities, just unmentionable garbage. Um, so anyway, I'll get into Sarah Silverman later. Um, but it just reminded me of her when when I said the word screaming foul, unmentionable obscenities, because she's made a career out of that. That's her skill. All right, yeah, we're gonna go to this 631 caller, and hopefully it's not a Sarah Silverman esque character screaming obscenities. 631 caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? It's Matt from New York.
Okay, good. All right. I should remember that. Matt, yeah, what's on your mind tonight? Good to hear from you.
It's good to hear from you too, Chris. I had like a bunch of articles pulled up on my phone that I wanted to, maybe
Yeah,
cite the headlines and
yeah,
then
go
go
for
into
it.
a little bit. But it sounds like you guys haven't really gotten into the, current events yet. But
Hey, that's
honestly,
why we're taking callers, though. I
I'd
mean, if
definitely be willing to pay.
yeah,
What's
Matt,
that?
that good, and that's why we're taking callers tonight, cause yeah, I mean the headlines are so like everything bad, nothing good, everything like we've been saying is coming for years, and nothing is happening that we weren't saying because this stuff has just become so obvious, but it seems that folks are still fooled out there into following the misleaders of the world out there, and I really I, I don't get it at all. But yeah, go ahead. I wouldn't mind getting into that, especially because my computer's freezing up right now. But so yeah, go ahead,
Well,
Matt.
great.
You have the
Yeah, I can,
floor.
help you out.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Well, first of all, I want to say that I would definitely be willing to, if you set up some sort of paywall, I would definitely be willing to pay. I didn't really know that you had a donation page or something like that. I've only been listening to you for like 6 months or something. I've only been listening to the live shows for a month or two. So, but I'd definitely be willing to, you know, get behind the paywall, so to speak.
yeah,
If you were to do that.
That's great. It's much appreciated. I'm glad to hear it. I feel that I certainly uh, give value when I charge money for things, and I have a history of that where folks can see that they can go into my when I own businesses providing services, retail services, healthcare services. Um, I have a history of decades of what I believe, and this is my intention in any event, going above and beyond, you know, just in service, but especially if there's monetary payment involved, going above and beyond. If I charge $3, I'm gonna give you $10 worth of service. So yeah, I mean, good. I'm happy to hear it. So yeah, like what do you think's important stuff? So far, I mean, Bojo Koro, um, he's out of the hospital miraculously. He was he was in dire straits, so we're told, and that was a roller coaster. 5 days for Boris Johnson. So folks can remember that Brexit still hasn't occurred. How many years ago did folks vote to have that happen? I mean, it's just that.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry to interrupt there, but another delayed promise. If we're going to start Brexit, another delayed promise. The helicopter money activities have not happened yet,
Right,
except for the bank
right.
and a few corporations, I believe.
Yep.
Although they're saying the IRS is dealing out the small business loan helicopter money next week, so we'll see how they
We'll
hold up
see.
with that.
Yeah,
So
they.
continue with Bojo the clown, that disgusting Zionist traitor.
Yeah. Bojo, Kibbutz Bojo the clown. So yeah, Bojo went into the hospital with the co-row, and yeah, I mean, he's a Rothschild puppet boy, obviously, and that was just complete nonsense. Nothing was wrong with that dude. I'm telling you, nothing was wrong with that chump, that crazy chump, and like we got our own crazy chump here, but isn't it weird that we both have these crazy, ridiculous looking chumps? I mean, not ridiculous looking because like folks might think that I'm ridiculous looking, but I mean, they are they're so strange when it comes to their unique hairstyles, their unique manner of speaking, their unique gesticulation, their unique stances. I mean, just everything about them is just it's off-putting. And then as people, it's even worse. It's like Trump's always standing on his feet, ready to like attack somebody because like he's so incompetent. Bojo is always, I don't know, he's like Benny Hill. Like that's what I think of when I think of like Boris Johnson. Not that they look like alike or anything like that. And like Benny Hill, that's that. I mean, I don't mean to insult Benny Hill, but he's just like a comical Joker character. And Trump's more like the Triumph the insult comic dog. In his delivery. I think that they have the same writers. I literally do think that Donald Trump and Triumph the insult comic dog, not funny, have the same writers, same cadence, same style. That's what it Trump the insult comic. I don't even know what to say. I would never compare him to a dog because that's the ultimate insult to one of God's greatest creations. But in any event, yeah, what a bunch of chumps. Yeah, that's
Trump,
about
the
it.
insult comic child rapist.
Yeah, Trump, the insult comic child rapist. Yeah. Oh, I heard this guy Trump, the insult comic child rapist today, saying that they are blockading Venezuela to stop them from human trafficking. Now, this is how you can tell the honor system will never work in the society, because Donald Trump is a sex trafficker himself. They were Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were running their operation out of Mar-a-Lago. According to the mainstream media, nobody's denying that fact, and it seems to check out. Now, I wasn't sitting in the freaking locker room with Ghislaine and Jeffrey, but I presume that's true because they were members and there's pictures of them there. There were private parties with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and the only other guest being several dozen girls. And that's for, not Donald Trump and and Jeffrey Epstein in their late 20s, early 20s. Not any age is like, not kosher when dealing with girls, but these guys were in their mid 40s and they were having private parties with these child sex slaves being flown into Mar-a-Lago. Recently, not recently, but in their later midlife to beyond midlife, they were doing this. Nobody's disputing this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about Trump, the insult comic child rapist. I don't know what else to say about Trump.
Chris, could I interject?
Yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, there's a lot of things. So I think with like guys that are like Trump and Bojo, that they look sort of goofy and like non-threatening, but then look at like so-called Lord Rothschilds or like David Rockefeller when he was in his last years. I mean, these people are just like walking demons. That's one thing.
Yeah, good point. Hey, let me follow up on that.
Then,
Matt, hold on 1 second. If you'll allow me, I apologize, but I did want to point out the appearance since Jacob Rothschild was brought up. Check out the Duke of Kent if you haven't already, and we've discussed this several times on the show, and we've even provided, when we were doing our slideshow, provided the slideshow of the similarities in appearance between the fake royal family, the so-called Windsors, and the Rothschild family, especially Nat and Jacob, and especially Jacob and the Duke of Kent. Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Yeah, take the floor, please.
yeah, man, I've actually never seen a picture of the Duke of Kent. I just looked it up, and it's like a spitting image of Jacob Rothschild. It's crazy.
Right. Oh yeah, there's even folks out there.
And we know these people have been interbreeding for hundreds of years. The Lords and the Rothschilds and those types. So
Well, to be specific, I mean, this isn't stuff that we already hadn't given away for free, but we talk a lot about the breeding rights, specifically that when the usurping monarchs who were put in place by the Rothschilds, they were them being put in place by the Rothschilds, the breeding rights were part of, not part, that was the meat, not in the sense of killing animals, but meat, like you want, like God gave us, the green herbs for our meat. That was the essential part of the agreement, is the breeding rights, that the Rothschilds would have their bloodline in with this, so that you know they couldn't do another edict of expulsion, or to do all that they could to prevent another edict of expulsion, because only the king or the queen can give the edict of expulsion, and they're not going to expel their own family, or the bloodline of their own family.
Yeah.
And of course, the
Right.
Edict of Expulsion is when Edward the First expelled the Jews, the so-called Jews, the synagogue of Satan, from England because they were devaluing the currency through clipping and sweating the coins and engaged in usury, and it was devastating the country, and they were not listening to reason, so they had to be kicked out. And that won't happen because the only one that can kick them out is the monarch, who now is, you know, has a synagogue of Satan bloodline themselves, is a fake Jew, Khazar Rothschild mobster. So yeah, go ahead, keep going, Matt.
All right. I have a bunch of articles pulled up. I'm just going to spit off a couple headlines, and then maybe we could go into certain articles if you want.
Yeah, go for it. Whatever. Yeah, you got the floor.
All right. So first one is chutzpah. ADL wants a federal bailout. Next one is Kushner squeezes tenants while lining up for bailout money.
Right.
Los Angeles Mayor Garcetti encourages residents to report violators of stay-at-home order. Snitches get rewards. That's an actual quote from him. And
Nice.
then this is from Newsweek. Exclusive. Inside the military's top secret plans of coronavirus cripples the government. And then it says, even as President Trump says he tested negative for coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic raises the fear that huge swaths of the executive branch or even Congress and Supreme Court could be disabled, forcing the implementation of continuity of government plans.
Yeah, we read that. We've read that article a couple times, Matt. It's definitely
Yep.
yeah.
And then another one, Bill Ackman, the controversial hedge fund manager who made $2.6 billion off the coronavirus market crash. He shorted it.
Right.
And then 6 million more Americans filed for unemployment. And then this was interesting from Forbes. COVID-19 is this generation's 9/11 and other ways life will never be the same again.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
One more.
oh, go ahead. Okay.
Feds classifying all coronavirus patient deaths as COVID-19 deaths, regardless of cause. So that's how they're inflating the numbers again.
Sure, yeah. Oh yeah.
And then one of Bill Gates' coronavirus COVID-19 vaccines enters human trials. And then Jews at Brooklyn Hospital will enjoy privileged access to ventilators over Gentiles.
Wait. Okay, hold on, hold on.
That's
Hold on,
not
hold on,
bad.
hold on.
We can
Hey,
go wherever we
Matt,
want.
Matt, hold on. Where is I know there's a delay, so I apologize to the listeners. Sometimes it seems like we're talking all over each other, but we're broadcasting on several platforms, or two platforms, I should say. Okay, what that last headline about Jews getting preferential treatment for ventilators? What where was that from?
Yeah.
That, like who published that?
NationalJustice.com.
Come again with that. Sorry.
NationalJustice.com.
Okay, so like, is that for real? I mean, let's start with that one. I mean,
Well, Chris, hold on.
all right. I'm gonna look that up and see if we can figure out if that is ventilators Gentiles.
National-justice.com by Eric Streicher.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to, like, Google. Yeah, but okay, Jews at and this is, oh yeah, this is Daily Archive. I got this 7 days ago. New York Jews at Brooklyn Hospital, and this is www.unz.com. UNZ. Yeah, like, I guess that's the one. Um,
Ron on.
yeah, what's that? Like, what's going on with that? Who is that person?
He's a guy who is he's like he's a Khazar, obviously, but he's sort of like an anti-Zionist.
Oh, I
Zionist
get it. I get it. I get it.
supports the
Okay.
treatment of the Palestinians and stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
I mean, I
Okay.
don't know. You can take it with a grain of salt, but
Well, I mean, it could be true. I mean, and that other stuff can be true too. I mean, he could be reporting true things,
well,
but
here's the thing, Chris.
yeah, go ahead.
I'll explain it in a little bit, more detail. So according to their so-called religious law, you cannot take a ventilator away or any other medical supplies away from someone who is old that is Jewish, even if they might die. So let's say there was a Gentile young person who needed it. According to their laws, they're going to keep the older people that are could be 95 years old, have all other kinds of ailments, on the
Ah,
ventilators
I got you.
instead of getting it to younger people. So that's basically it.
I got you. I see. I'm reading it. I'm reading it right now. Yeah, it's yeah, right on. I mean, I get it. Yeah, there's yeah. In any event, from what I hear, getting on a ventilator is like that's not a good sign. Like once you're on a ventilator, they say that 80% of those who
Yeah,
are on
just want to,
ventilators.
Chris, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I
go
just
ahead,
want to
Cliff.
try to get to the deeper element of it because the whole thing seems to be more of a psyop. People are dying from the regular flu, which again, they're assuming people don't know high school biology when they talk about viral infection. But I mean, I feel like a story like that's really more. I think the true chutzpah is to foment outrage because these cowards are too feckless to call out the ones who oppress them, and so it's just more fuel for the fire. It's just to foment their tension so then they can set up their another. They cry out in pain when they strike another psyop that they're gonna release after quarantine when they're first gonna do one. Oh, the Jewish community under attack. When so that's what I really think of that kind of story. Yeah, maybe it's true they do that. I believe it is true they do that, but it's not like like a whole bunch of old people died because these greedy rich folks, these greedy rich Khazars decided to take their ventilators. Like no one's really dying from this whole COVID-19. Not that the way they want people to think.
No,
So
definitely
I
not.
think that whenever we hear these, whenever we hear these sort of Jewish privilege stories put in our face, remember it's more outrage to foment tension than than anything new. I
Yeah,
mean, how much helicopter money is Israel still getting? But yeah, let's continue.
yeah, I agree with that, and I do want to get into this helicopter money and just point out, as we said before, as we said before the helicopter money was even created, you'll be the last to get it. If you're watching this show and you're not one of one of the many who are privileged to be guilty, monetarily privileged through their own treason, you're going to be the last to get any of that money, or you don't need it, or you don't need it at all, and you have a big house and an expensive cars and expensive toys and anything you wish for. For me, it's a little different, you know. But I mean, I'm not interested in money. I am, however, interested in power because it is my birthright. And so I mean I make my bold claims. Nobody else will think about refuting it because they can't refute my claims because I put too much evidence out there verifying my claims. So yeah, let's go back over some of those headlines. Cliff, what did you hear out of that really struck a chord with you out of those headlines?
I mean, the last one was, of course, the most bombastic one. But it's like again, it's like, hey, the Kushners are getting in line for the money. It's the
Yeah.
same sort of. They're telling you who the culprits are. Is they're letting you know it's a setup. I mean, it's the same. It's the same old thing. There's nothing that like stuck in particular. Like, oh, this is again. The last one was like the sort of kicker, but there
Yeah.
was nothing that was like. I'm just like I feel like I've heard those headlines or permutations of those headlines before.
I mean, definitely that they are key points about what's going on. The continuity of government. I can tell you after we start talking about that O'Shaughnessy guy, I saw him several hours later on Fox News, and I thought that was strange. I never really heard about him before starting to read about the continuity of government, and then I'm seeing him on TV. Never saw him before. Then see him within hours of discussing his operation. I mean, underground warfare. I can tell you the stuff that we talked about. I can tell you another group of individuals like I think Netflix is stealing our stuff. So there's a chapter in my book called The Swift System and the Bank for International Settlements. And I was watching this crap show. But it's like I mean, it's like I'm doing other stuff while I'm watching this what do you call it? Jack Ryan? Is that the thing on Amazon? Is that the one with the guy they say isn't Jewish but has a big Jewish nose? Playing Jack Ryan, the Tom Clancy CIA agent. And at the beginning of the show, his purpose is he monitors the SWIFT system in certain regions of the world. And it's like, yeah, we've been telling you since, 2012 about the SWIFT system and how that verifies that all the governments of the world, even those who are at war with one another, are getting finance from the same source, and that's the verifiable proof. So that these guys on Netflix, they just twist it around and say, no, that's how we catch terrorists. Um, but yeah, the SWIFT system, uh, space warfare. I mean, that's how I got into this stuff. That's how I was appointed militia commander, was from the most powerful individual when it comes to the most versed and the creator of weaponizing space, which is at this point it's like there's no need for much terrestrial warfare anymore. There's underground warfare and there's space warfare, drones, satellite war, um, electromagnetic warfare, harp warfare, tectonic warfare. So that stuff mostly happens under the ground and above the ground. Almost all that stuff happens in those two places. So when folks think like, oh, we got the militia here in Culpeper County, Virginia, and like, yeah, that militia is appointed by the sheriff. Part of continuity of operations. It's gonna still defeat the deep state. Oh no, it's not. It's part of the deep state. We're too stupid to function. All right. So that's how it goes. Everything is underground and above ground. And it's it's like worse than freaking, a disturbed child with a magnifying glass on a sunny day around ants. What they have with this 5G technology. But like I don't wish to get into that too much because I do want to touch on a few things. Like folks, they now seem to think that 5G is not a problem. That hey, it's been around for a while. These are talking points. I can tell you, some of you may already know who this talking point came from this week is Ryan Dawson. So all you need to know about Ryan Dawson is he says a plane hit the Pentagon impossible, and that 5G is harmless, and that it is not used for military applications, that it's meaningless, it's not going to hurt you.
Well, that's an outright lie, because at the very least, sans all the sort of directed energy weapon like active denial system, which that's verified. Um, that kind of warfare, if they're using it for what they claim, higher internet speeds, they're using it to get your information quicker. So,
Right.
yeah, Ryan Dawson's a fucking disgusting degenerate who needs to be, the law needs to be executed with regards to that piece of garbage. No insult to garbage.
Yeah, yeah. Unrecyclable garbage. It can't be recycled into anything else useful. He's just a waste of oxygen, Khazarian, Synagogue of Satan member. That guy told me he was Native American and Irish. Come on, look at that guy. Give me a freaking break. But in any event, in any event, there he's not the only one that's spouting that off right now. He's not the only one. So, I mean, the military applications are the only reason why this is going into effect. It is part of the DARPA net apparatus. It is a DARPA tool.
Well, I mean, can
So,
we discuss people burning some of these towers down allegedly?
I'm I don't know whether that's true or not. I think that sounds like some sort of thing where they're
Yeah, I mean, I've seen footage. I've seen footage, but again, like, things can look a certain way, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. But have you seen any of that footage of people allegedly burning down
I have
5G
seen
towers?
I
What do you,
I
do
have
you have any?
I have not seen the people burning them down. I have seen them burning though, but I haven't watched a lot of them. I've only watched a
Yeah,
couple.
okay, yeah.
So what I thought is a possibility is that nobody's burning them down. They might be burning themselves down. Um, there's some in my neighborhood. I'm. It's something. I'm not certain if it's 5G. It's large spools of wire and boxes that say
Yeah,
"keep away
I see
danger."
towers here in Fourth of, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to describe what I see, and I have video that I haven't put out because I don't know if it's 5G, and it might just be. It could be anything. I believe it's electrical. It would seem odd that it wasn't, but it could be, that they're updating, stuff and putting, power lines underground. I don't know. That's probably not a good idea either. Um, but in any event, what I see are gigantic 8 foot tall spools of wire. Um, and they're spread out around the neighborhood, but mostly in one spot. Maybe three or four of those. But again, I have video of this. And green boxes, square boxes, probably 3 feet high, 5 feet long. They have a danger warning saying, do not touch, that this will cause fire, shock, or death. So I'm seeing that around, and I'm wondering why this is happening when everything is shut down. If if it's not something for nefarious militaristic purposes. I mean, because I know everything is for nefarious militaristic purposes, and we are now the targets under the new continuity of government implementation. Although it's not that new, um, we're told it's new, but this is continuity of government and continuity of operations, which is also a chapter in my book. So, SWIFT system, Bank for International Settlements. That's all you need to know about the financial world, and continuity of operations and operationalizing CONUS base is all one needs to know about military. And that is the fact that they are planning and training and working towards an active firing warfare against the American people to escalate beyond the asymmetrical clandestine operations. They're ready to do it just out in plain sight, and they're doing it. And I believe 5G is definitely a part of that. And certainly these threats of vaccinations or these restrictions on folks going back to work, um, that's another element of this as well. But I just, I mean,
I mean, I think to just like just as far as the 5G, I mean, when we already know it's the same technology as the active denial system, at the very least, like to just completely suppress all rioting, like I think that's like the main gambit they would have to be going for. Like they just say, oh, the 5G just happens to double as a riot suppression. Isn't that convenient? Oh yeah, yeah, what a coincidence. So I mean, that's when I like really sort of like cut through the whole. Oh, are they really just gonna put like death rays out and just start like that? Like maybe a little, but it's mostly I think to as far as an offensive weapon, it's the riot suppression.
well, that's what they're
But
going to do
that,
first.
that those are my present thoughts.
Yeah, that's what they're
Yeah,
going to do.
exactly.
That's what they're going to do first. I mean, they'll keep that laser zapper trump card in their back pocket for now. But yeah, they're definitely gonna use the active denial elements of this. And who's to say that they just that they have that has to be like targeted, that it's not just inside folks subconscious at this point, that it's going directly into them with, I mean, the old mind control technology or voice to skull technology, and imagine that with 5G instead of 3G and 4G when it was already um extremely effective with less sophisticated application possibilities. So yeah, I mean, it's absurd what some folks say. I mean, it really is. Say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's like every kind of militaristic application can be put into effect much with much more uh, firepower with the 5G than with the previous 4G. So everything that was amped up as far as electromagnetic warfare, which to me is what they're using by and large. They're using a lot less guns, they're using a lot more drones, they're using a lot less bombs, they're using a lot more electromagnetic, warfare, tectonic warfare. Not to say that they're not bombing Yemen, they certainly are. Not to say they're not bombing in Syria and Afghanistan and all these other places, they certainly are. I'm just saying that there is a new generation of weapons. Um, I mean, here's stuff from 2019, November 20th. The 5G space weapon, mind control agenda, and kill grid. That's from Global Research. 5G. Oh well, that's mind control theories from something. Australia. Let's see. Mind control by cell phone. That's from 2008. Um, electromagnetic signals from cell phones can change your brain waves and behavior. Yeah, okay. So we've known that many years. All right, let's get into this global research article called 5G, the 5G space weapon, mind control agenda, and kill grid. Um, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. Let's see. This is somebody named Lucas, last name, and somebody named Claire. And we'll read this real quick. Hello and welcome to this edition of Age of Truth. Oh, are we gonna really? No, we're not gonna even read these guys. We'll read a little bit. Let's see. Claire Edwards, it's wonderful to have you on the show and welcome to Denmark. Claire, thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. Lucas, you are a former United Nations editor and have now become a spokesperson for the international appeal to stop 5G on Earth and in space. But why are you going against the rollout of 5G? A lot of people, a lot of scientists say that it is just amazing that we are now going to have in order to have faster running internet connection. Do we need that? Does anybody really need faster internet connection? I mean, I thought dial up was pretty mind blowing when that came around. And so, like, this is much faster. You get all the information you need, and if it was dangerous to have the internet even at this level, I would agree to get rid of it immediately because nothing really matters. I'd rather live in a real world than a simulation world based on the binary code of 555, which is 1010. So, in any event,
I mean, I would say most people don't need to be on the internet because the internet itself, DARPANET, is a military weapon. So most people are playing with fire and don't realize.
yeah, they don't realize.
Not only do people not need faster internet speed, they really don't. The average person does not need to be on the internet.
I mean, I'll tell you what one of the worst things I've seen is because it gets to everyone is TikTok. It's playing into and expediting this like 8 second attention span that the public has, and I've heard things that it's giving people weird dreams or it's triggering they're having uh, dreams, lucid dreams triggered by TikTok. Now, guys, I mean, that's what I'm hearing from firsthand individuals that I know. So you guys can check that out, see if you think that that's holds any water, but it really doesn't matter what you guys think. I know what's going on. It's crazy to have mindless 8 second videos one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, created for no real purpose. Let's go back to this 5G. This is Claire. This is the former United Nations whatever editor, whatever that is. 5G is potentially an annihilation event for the planet. 5G was marketed as 5G because it was intended for people to believe that it was just an upgrade from 4G. But in fact, if you understand wireless technology and cell phones, you would know that cell phones were never tested for health or safety, and wireless technology was never tested for health or safety. So all of this is devastating for health. We have the health results now from all of these first generations of wireless technology. So we know that this is absolutely devastating for people's health and for the environment. And 5G is going to be very different technology. It has very little in common with 4G, which is truly devastating. Okay. So, like, I'm gonna bail out of this article because, like, I don't like when they BS people at the beginning. Um, but they probably are making money on this. That's what these money makers like to do. They don't like to get into things at the beginning. They'll talk about nothing and nothing. But in any event, this is military application. Yeah, go ahead, Matt. 5G,
Yeah,
military.
like Cliff was saying, the internet was created by DARPA, which is a branch of the military. So, when they're saying that they want to improve the internet and make it faster, it's basically like saying you want to update this weapon system. And we found a new way to kill you more precisely, so we're going to put it out there.
Oh, absolutely. And this is gonna. I believe that this is gonna go into their blockchain money technology where they get rid of cash. They just announced here in Richmond that they're not taking cash at the toll booths anymore. And you can't get across town for like a dime or a quarter anymore. It costs dollars. So you either got to get this wireless technology smart whatever you call them easy pass thing, or you walk around with exact change, or you can't go through the tolls. Or if you go through the tolls, one of those cops that hangs around the tolls is going to pull you right over, and they'll either fine you like hundreds of dollars or put you in handcuffs and put you in a cage, or they might just shoot you. So, I mean, all this stuff is really getting absurd. This is really getting absurd, any of this. So, I'll go back to like the simplest, most important facts of the matter. Government is a two-dimensional creation of man. Man can't create like an earth like God can. It can't create other living beings or a living planet. It cannot create a universe or a multiverse or anything else. However, man can create a two-dimensional concept and can even write words down on a piece of paper and use a magic trick to act as if that, or to behave in a manner that script has any sort of standing or power in any way, which it does not. It does not. My power, your authority, your standing, it does not come from the Constitution. The Constitution it's a document. It's a two-dimensional creation of man. It is the United States of America de jure government. That's the Constitution. That is the de jure government. The de facto government ignores the Constitution, but that's not where the power comes from. That's not where the authority comes from. It does not come from scribbling symbols, written down on a piece of paper. That's an abomination to, if you go back far enough, to our ancestors. Writing something down? That's an abomination. Not like they didn't remember anything. Not like they didn't have any rules. They had more and better rules. They just didn't write it down. Because what can one do when they write something down? They can write it down in a language that only they understand. They can write it down as a lie. They can write it down to get folks to go along with it, to comply with it, and then they can rip it up. So like anything is just that's written, it could be a lie or it could not be a lie. But what I'm saying is that this government creation of man can never have any legitimate authority over man. And that's why they don't say in the 14th Amendment, man is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Thank you. Sorry about that, y'all. Man can never be subject to his own creation. I don't know how many times I've repeated this over the years, but it all comes back to that. One can't get around it. One cannot move forward past that point. So let's have a discussion on that. one last time for free a discussion on the fact that man can never be subject to his own creation. And when I say man, I mean male and female, created in God's image. So, what authority does the government have to tell you anything? No good. Where do they get it, the authority? Oh, written down on a piece of paper? Okay. Yeah, I don't abide by that because we ordained the government, and through our ordination, there was a record written down. That's the Constitution. The Constitution didn't ordain it, the people ordained it, and the Constitution is the record of that. I mean, y'all following me? Because, like, nothing else makes any sense. Hey, I'm going to write down this.
Again, Chris, difficult to comprehend. So it's just everyone in super bitch mode. I mean, no insult to female dogs, but they want to pretend like they don't get it because I guess it's too traumatizing to come to grips with they've been lied to or misled all their lives. I guess misled is the best word. Misled by their ignorant parents, their ignorant teachers at best, nefarious, deceitful teachers at worst. So yeah, if we're not responding, it's not because
No.
it's too much to take it. It's just that simple.
No, I got you. I know you. I know everybody on the line gets it. I'm just saying, like, hey, it's this simple. Government can never have power over man. It is impossible. And that's why they changed the word. Oh, it's not people anymore. It's persons and citizens. And man, we're not going to use that because that's too obvious in our rule book where it says, and our rule book is the Bible. Whether you like it or not, that's the rule book for the law. That is part of the common law. Who says so? Everybody says so. John Locke, Blackstone, everybody who matters at all when it comes to jurisprudence, especially common law, English common law jurisprudence, everybody knows that. And it makes sense because God gave man dominion over the earth. On the, in the book of Genesis, it's not stated, and God created man in his image, and then God created the government in order to take all the natural rights away from man that he just gave to man. Does it say that in your Bible? The Bible being the basis of the law. Does it say, well, yeah, God created man in his image, but then he decided that government must undo all of the work that he just did, and there was no purpose for that except for to create government, which is the replacement of God. God is dead. Period. End of Bible. Does it say that in the Bible? Because if one is to go along with this current system, one would have to believe that. And whenever I'm not like making full sense, or if I'm misspeaking in any sort of way, hey, I wish for somebody to tell me. But that's the way it would have to go. All right, we got 540 caller. All right, again, we're gonna have short leashes, and again, Robert's Rules of Order, parliamentary procedure, is in effect. So we're not having anything other than what we've had so far on this show. 540 caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hope this isn't Sarah Silverman.
Hey, Chris. This is Daniel. I called you last week.
Oh, okay. Greetings, Daniel Gum. All right. Hey, yeah, good to have you on the show. Yeah, what are your thoughts about what we've been talking about, or anything else that's that you feel is important for general business?
Well, I just called to say that hope everybody has a wonderful Easter. Truly, truly, truly for that. As far as that being said, um, we're, I'm at a loss for words for as far as
Well,
the
Daniel,
demonic stuff that happened.
well, yeah, let me get your thoughts on what we were talking about then, because we were talking about the fact that the Constitution is the government for the United States, the official government, but it is just it was not ordained or created by the Constitution did not create the government. The people ordained the government, and the Constitution is a written documentation of that, of this ordained government, because
Yeah,
the right, okay. And so the written word is, when talking about the law, the ultimate written word, the supreme written word when it comes to the law, the English common law, is the Bible. And the Bible, I was putting out hypotheticals of what the Bible does not say, that the Bible says that God created man in his image, male and female, obviously, and that we are given dominion over the planet Earth, and that if one were to go along with this system, one would have to believe that the Bible states this, that God created man in his image, gave him dominion over the earth, and that right after that he created this two-dimensional document called government, and made it invalidated, I should say, all of the things he created up to that point. Period. End of Bible. Because in order to go along with the story, that's what one would have to believe. In order to go along, they're either going against the basis of the common law, as Locke and Blackstone and all the other masters of English jurisprudence say, that the Bible is the basis of the common law. The Bible has always been a part and the basis of the common law. And that if that is the case, if we're going along with this and there's some sort of legitimacy, and it's not just a satanic inversion of the common law through de facto application, that one would have to think the Bible would state God created man in his own image and gave him dominion. And then right after that, he said, I shall create government now, and this two-dimensional creation, not in my image, that is arbitrary, is supreme over all living beings. Period. End of Bible. Because it is really that absurd for folks to go along with this in any sort of way, and it is really satanic, and it is to our detriment, not to our benefit. Nobody is benefiting from what's going on.
I want to add a qualifier.
Go ahead.
It's pathetic for folks to go along with this when they're not under duress.
Yes. When they're not. Well, hey, Clifford, I think more and more we are under duress. Duress can be anything. Anything thrown at them. It doesn't have to be
extreme duress.
Yeah.
Extreme duress and immediate threat of death.
Yeah, it is pretty pathetic that everybody just kind of has.
Or imprisonment.
Yeah, I mean, I've kept going when facing those things. When facing them, I've kept going along, and even under duress. I mean, because what did I do when I was under duress? In cages, in shackles, with guns pointed at me? All I can do is state, I'm under duress. Getting beat up by the cops, being put in the hospital for catching them doing illegal stuff, I'm under duress. So yeah, you say you're under duress. These folks think that they're making these decisions, and they go like, "Oh, I'm just making these decisions." Hey, one thing I do wish to talk about here, folks, and this is a little bit of a transition, but does anybody wish to talk about the Wisconsin slave lines that were forming on Tuesday? Anybody want to comment on that? Because that was crazy to see all these idiots out there, and the quadruple pretzel twisting in the mind, where they got this one girl that I guess there was the big picture of the day, this one lady wearing a mask and standing in one of those slave voting lines in Wisconsin with a cardboard sign that says, "This is ridiculous." And like, hearing interviews, I can't believe they're forcing us to come out here and vote. They're making us get sick. My dad is dying of lung cancer, and this is ridiculous. Look at what they're making me do. They're gonna make me kill my dad to vote. Give me a break. Your vote doesn't count.
Did you think that was an actor?
Yeah, I definitely thought that was an actor.
Because I mean, that's like multiple levels. This is moronic.
I mean, this is.
Yes.
Go ahead, Cliff. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No one's forcing you to vote. No one's forcing you to vote. People who are informed and have a shred of moral courage will tell you voting is bad. It's immoral if you vote. Either you are so cowardly that you have to abdicate your moral responsibility to persons like Trump, the insult comic child rapist, or the insane, or the pedophile Joe Biden, or the lunatic satanic Khazar Bernie Sanders, or whatever criminal you want to vote for. You have to be that immoral. So no one's making you go out and do those immoral things, not even the government. They're telling you to do it and shaming you for not doing it. So yeah, that's just, and now you're worried that you're being not forced to vote, and you choosing to vote is going to get your dad sick. Well, if you're worried about that, then don't vote. But as you said, it seems like an actor, because that's what it sounds like. But then again, persons are so ridiculous. I never know anymore.
Yeah. Go ahead, Daniel. I got some more thoughts on this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I just think this whole debacle. I mean, they're censoring people on video. I mean, just a variety of people on video who are showing dissent on this whole silly thing they call a virus here. It doesn't have the financial system. The virus doesn't have anything to do with the stock market. It doesn't have anything to do with the financial system. It's utterly asinine for anyone who would believe that this virus is causing all this, and it's not.
Right. It's.
I mean, they're using tests on these people, and I think the guy who created this so-called testing machine or whatever or kit back in '84, Mullins, if I'm not mistaken, is the one who come up with this idea of testing as far as genetic chromosomes or disease, which COVID-19, which coronavirus, will not even be detected in this particular test. They're just using it as a pretext if anyone has an illness of any sort, like a influenza or lung disease, lung cancer, or stomach flu, stomach virus, whatever the case may be. They just say, okay, regardless of what it is, we'll put it down as a coronavirus.
Right.
It's utter nonsense.
Yeah.
For anyone who believes that these folks are out here getting this particular virus, which is made up, conjured up, a phantom, a figment of someone's imagination here, which, like I said,
Well,
I don't want nobody to be sick. I don't want nobody to be having a
yeah, real quick,
medical
Dan.
professionals out here that are mind-molested and brainwashed with this freaking idea that you gotta be told or follow an order to freaking do this particular scenario here. Say, okay, if someone coughs, the coronavirus, or if
Right,
someone has a tummy ache, coronavirus.
right.
I mean, it's asinine.
It is. I agree 100%.
Absolutely asinine.
I agree, Daniel. Yeah, obviously they're. I mean, we stated this when we were seeing how they were testing in China with putting that electronic thermometer up to people's heads and be like, wow, they got these army people with guns. They're gonna drag off anybody who has a fever. And they've even told us this stuff. They're saying like, yeah. Like 95% of the people who have the symptoms of coronavirus don't have actually the coronavirus. I mean, so they're telling us this stuff, and there are coronaviruses. I've seen the patents for them. So there is a coronavirus. Now, whether there is a worse coronavirus going around this year than there is every year, I mean, it depends on what the government's released. I don't believe so. I believe that this is going to be I mean, how about this, guys? Because like this just popped into my mind, especially when I started seeing the actual numbers where they're starting to say, "Oh yeah, it looks like maybe about 60,000 people are going to die from the coronavirus." Could this just be exactly what happens every year? Except for maybe a little bit less because everything's shut down, that we normally get between 40 and 100,000 deaths in the United States from the regular flu. And could this just be a normal year? I mean, if we're to believe any of what they say um at all to begin with, and certain things they can hide more easily than others. Some things they'll lie about and they'll easily get caught in the lie. Sometimes it's more difficult to prove and verify the government is lying. But wouldn't it be very
I
funny?
mean,
And
that's what it seems like.
yeah,
It's just the regular flu, the so-called flu season,
right,
or the deaths from the flu, and it's much ado about nothing.
right. But the fact that every year maybe some people die of symptoms of the coronavirus, um, and this happens every year, and they just basically say, "Oh, they died of the flu," because there's lots of different flus. There's different strains of the flu. I mean, even even like everyone knows from being a kid, like you can have like uh like a like a flu where you're throwing up. You could have a flu where you got diarrhea. You could have a flu where you're not exhibiting any of those symptoms, but like you know, uh, um, body aches and lethargy. There's all sorts of different kinds of flus. So they don't differentiate. They may say, oh, this strain of the flu this year is more deadly than last year, but blah, 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 blah. But, but yeah, I mean, Mark Latchison, I agree. Everything was getting ready to go bankrupt and until they started the helicopter money. So the people are actually going bankrupt right now, but the corporations are not going bankrupt. So, yeah, it's like we said from the beginning that the economy was about to crash. It was crashing. All the signs were there. The repo market, the inversion rates, the what's the best thing that shows this? What's the greatest thing that shows this? And we're going to get into this too with the OPEC, Russia, and the US all coming to an agreement, all the nations of the world. the languishing demand for oil. That was the number one sign of a slowdown. It's like, oh, they're going to cut production. Why would you cut production? Oh, so the gas isn't too cheap for the people. Because, like, the people don't need as much of it. So there's too much of a supply. So we can't mark it up anymore. So we're going to cut the demand. Why? Oh, so you'll give us more money. So, like, why is that a thing? If the natural supply and demand has to be artificially deflated when it comes to oil in order to make us pay more money for the oil, in order for those who are money laundering the oil, skimming off the top and licensing and selling natural quote unquote resources, then, like, why would anybody go along with that? But they're telling us on the news, oh, hey, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that they're cutting Russia, Saudi Arabia, the U.S., OPEC plus or whatever is cutting 10 million barrels per day. Oh, why is that a good thing? Because the price of oil is going up. Okay, well, why is that a good thing for anyone other than those who are stakeholders and stockholders in the oil industry? Oh, it's not? And it's bad for everybody else but them? And those them that hold the stock and the stake in these oil companies are the 1/10 of 1% of wealth holders around the world that engage in war and usury against us? Oh, fooled again. They fooled us again, Cliff. Can you believe it? I mean, yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what you're saying there. I mean, they like to talk that they like to talk that where this, they want to give you excuses of why the oil price was dropping like it was. They don't bother to tell you that for the last 10 to 15 years that banks has been hedging bet on these prices of oil to go to $200 a barrel, like Goldman Sachs has for this period of time, and other banks as well, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and et cetera, et cetera. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you how they hedge bets for when you go in the courtroom, when they give you a QSIP number. A QSIP number where you get bets hedged against you, or on it. It's a gambling casino. The whole thing ain't nothing but a rigged gambling casino. It's no different than anyone going to a gambling casino and hedging a bet in craps or hedging a bet in blackjack. It's no different because that's what they do. They don't care. They don't have no apathy. They don't have no empathy. They're Satan in the sky. They're a wolf in sheep's clothing here, and they don't have no remorse of any sort of anyone else other than the fact that they just do this and they play with people, like they look at us like we're cattle and sheep.
Right. I mean, they
pieces of trash to these folks.
Right. Let me get in there, Daniel. That's certainly not true. I have much more respect for cattle and sheep than most human beings. They don't lie, they don't deceive, they don't put the all living things on God's creation on the brink of extinction because they abdicate their free will and so forth and so on. And thanks, Muhammad. What I meant to say is inversion curve, the yield curve, the inversion yield curve. I'll read you a few headlines. So yeah, the inversion curve, 2019's inversion yield curve means a recession could hit in early 2020. That's Forbes, December 31st, 2019. Here's one from Forbes: inverted yield curve suggesting recession around the corner. The inverted yield curve explained and what it means. So yeah, the inverted yield curve, recession watch, Washington Post, 2019, 814. What an inverted yield curve means for recession. Um, Basically, all the signs were pointed to that. So I mean, that's all you need to know. I I mean, we've been told by by our subsidiaries in Freemasonry how electricity works. I mean, I don't know the function of the yield curve, but I know how to recognize it. I know that when I flip my light switch or flip my breaker in my house, that the electricity will go on and off. Now, what makes that happen? Well, what makes that happen is the binary code for the number five, an algorithmic, you know, um, uh, I guess, electrical pulse keeps the energy flowing. But yeah, the yield curve was telling us that there's going to be a recession hit at this time, at exactly this time. We have been warned for months about the inversion curve and the inversion yield curve, and also the repo market when they hit an all-time high. Or here's another thing with the languishing oil prices. Remember, we pointed this out as well when Soleimani was allegedly assassinated. That was the largest ever spike in the price of oil, and I presume that was right before all these oil corporations and nationalized oil companies, when their debts came due and they had all the languishing demand. What are they going to do? They're going to create some sort of scenario that spikes the price of oil like it has never been spiked before. And the same thing goes when the drones were shot down in the Straits of Hormuz. These, you know, in the past 6 months, these several events which have artificially spiked the languishing price for a barrel of oil. So yeah, it's like a casino that's rigged. Like Daniel said, everything is like a rigged casino, and everyone is gambling with your life that is benefiting in any way from this criminal government that has no legitimate authority. Remember when we used to say the most important thing is that we have to abolish the government? So, like, I mean, I guess at that point, by me even saying it, that the government's already abolished as soon as we start saying that the people have to abolish the government. But then I realized it's not me who abolished the government. It's not those who are following me or anything like that, or have the same philosophy as I do, or that recognize how the law works and how the law is supposed to be implemented, because we didn't even do that. The government abolished itself by contradicting everything in action that it's supposed to stand for in philosophy, in fact, and in deed. So, yeah, we failed. But the good thing about it is, like, it abolished itself. It's like the ultimate non sequitur. Well, the government is formed to only work to protect the rights of the people, and the rights of the people are given by God. And as soon as it acts in a contrary nature to that, then the people have the right and duty to abolish it, except for it acted in every way against the people and it didn't do anything to benefit them. And so it just started acting in every way in complete contradiction to its only purpose for being. So it's not a real thing. It doesn't have any real authority. It's a criminal enterprise. It's a pirate system. It is the devil written about in the book of Revelations and throughout the Bible. It is the adversary of the natural law. It is Satan incarnate. It is the most dangerous sociopathic, psychopathic entity that could ever exist. It's the beast system. What else can you say about it? I mean, what else haven't we said about it? But again, it all comes back down to the point where if the government starts taking away or attempting to take away the God-given rights of man, it is no longer a legitimate government in any way, and it is something completely different and something that is so evil that most individuals, even when they are carrying out that evil, they are not conscious of it. And the worst ones are the ones that are very conscious of the evil that they are perpetrating upon everyone. Yeah. I would say some of the first presidents. I mean, maybe we can go back to John Hanson. You know, the Articles of Confederation is better than the Constitution, and the Constitution is null and void now, according to the government, because they're telling us right now what we told you years ago. That the Constitution, they're not even pretending to abide by that anymore. Right now, they are overtly abiding by continuity of government, which is a FEMA and run by the FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security, and it is also implemented by the United States government, who has operationalized continental United States base and is carrying out operations which are overt. Again, we've been telling you this for years. Overt military operations, not hidden, not classified, that are targeting the American people in every sort of way. So we told you about this, and what? You guys didn't listen? You guys didn't. We told you what to do about it too. You guys didn't do anything. You guys did the worst. You followed the misleaders instead of following the true leaders. You failed at the honor system. So like we're gonna have to do something different, because we're not gonna waste our time. Giving this away for free in order to have, I mean, really the most action I've seen out of what we've told you over the years is our enemies using what we're saying as the solution in order to what do they call it, like catch and kill, like they take the information and they take out all the parts that they think is going to titillate the population, and then they kill the most important part of the message that we put out there. And they'll have somebody who's test marketed, like Adam Green or Ryan Dawson, who appeals to the worst elements in the human psyche. And there you have it. These obvious government agents, they manipulate. Or Richie from Boston, or PK Truth, or, I mean, you name them. I don't want to see any of them. David Icke is the worst. I've got to tell you, we had to get into this before the end of the show. And we're going to go, since we started about 15 minutes late, we're going to go about 15 minutes over. David Icke, I've had enough of that piece of garbage. I mean, if I could get an amen, that would be good. I mean, if folks disagree, That would be good too.
Amen.
Yeah. So enough of David Icke, because basically what that millionaire does, and he's a millionaire, is he takes other people's work, twists it around, adds some abstractions like the world is a computer program and it's run by lizard people, and combines that with real facts, and then pretends like he's a victim after millions of people buy his books and watch his videos that are everywhere and never get taken down, or only get taken down to be put back up to get even more views than the video was taken down, to make even more money. I mean, of course, David Icke is an agent. Like, everybody knew this beyond a shadow of a doubt back during Occupy, when Luke Rudkowski and David Icke were doing an interview in, what's that, Zuccotti Park, Fugazi Park, it was Zuccotti Park, I think it was. And David Icke and Luke Rudkowski are standing in front of a cop in riot gear, and that cop was Wee Man from the MTV television series Jackass. I mean, you knew it back then when one saw that. It's like, oh, wait a second, that cop in riot gear, he's a short person. You know, whatever. I don't wish to be rude to anybody, but what folks used to call like you know, maybe have the dwarfism. And nothing against this guy personally, although I have no empathy or sympathy for Jackass. That's a disgusting show. But these guys were participating in the Occupy movement, and that they were filming, just like they were filming at the Bundy, all the Bundy standoff places. Those were IMDb, you know, paid actors. Those were professionals. So when you know that, that's all one needs to know. That's all they need to see. And lots of people saw that. I mean, let me see if I can see David Icke, Luke Rudkowski.
Yeah, I'm familiar with David Icke.
Yeah, I'm talking about this in particular. Rudkowski, Wee Man, Occupy. So let's see if that comes up. And we all know Occupy was Otpor and Canvas, and it was a CIA operation. And let's see. Let's see. Videos. Maybe this video is already gone, but I certainly have seen these guys definitely out there together. Lots of folks saw that. And yeah, I mean, there it was. They were standing right in front of the actor Wee Man from Jackass, dressed in full cop riot gear. Yeah. So, in any event, hey, it's all about discernment, guys. If you guys can't discern, and you guys think David Icke's sweet, cool, good for you. You guys are duped. If you guys like Luke Rudkowski, if you guys like Ryan Dawson or Adam Green, good. That I trust you. I trust that you are moral degenerates with no discernment capability. You're one that cannot see the truth. So I trust you on that. I trust that you'll do the wrong thing. I trust that you'll. Oh, Brendan O'Connell, of course. Of course. Brendan O'Connell. Talpiot Group, of course. That guy Davis, yeah. I mean, all these guys got outed. Like, you know, remember what Ziggy Kelleher did along with us and separate. It's like, oh yeah, these guys are shills. Oh yeah, you were right about Jan Irvin. You were right about Ryan Dawson. You were right about Luke Radowski. Like, it's obvious. How could you be wrong about it? Well, I trust everyone. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Zachary Greenblatt, Zachary K. Hubbard. If you guys like these guys, good. Good. Good one, Chad Martin. I'm not even going to say that guy's name. He's not even at their level. Although he does get paid well. Yeah, Mark Passio. I would say, yeah, for the most part, Mark Passio, even though, yeah, there's some good information there. But what do you think? What do you guys think? That's legit?
Bigger names. Well, O'Keefe's not really that big, but Christopher Bolin,
Christopher Bolin.
A sacred calf. No offense to Calf.
Yeah. Christopher Bolin, Kevin Barrett. I mean, basically, you know.
Osman, he seems to be following my stories for whatever reason on Facebook now.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many.
All of them. All of them. All of them. All of them. We've called them all out individually and as a whole. So, the guy that interviewed you from Saudi Arabia. Hey guys, if you already know that I'm calling these guys out in particular, and yeah, Dennis Feccio says he's paid by the Saudi government. So yeah, I mean, Renegade Broadcasting, FBI front group, handled by Mary Catherine Barton, judge, prosecutor, FBI asset. I mean, what else? What else? Using fake names on I don't even know what happened to that guy. You know their names. What happened to him? I don't know. I mean, it seemed like every other person he interviewed was a government agent beside myself, so I don't know. Yeah, Dennis Feccio is paid by the Saudi government. He admitted it to me. He can't do anything but admit it to you. Because that's what he's doing in Saudi Arabia. What else would somebody be doing in Saudi Arabia? It's illegal for foreign companies to own things in Saudi Arabia. So if you're getting paid and you get paid from a Saudi source, yeah, you're working for the Saudi government. That's why Ryan Dawson would never tell us who employed him in Japan. We didn't need that to know that he was a government agent, but if you can't tell somebody who employs you, then, I mean, how can anybody trust you? Because it's like, well, who's paying you to say these things? Like, 5G is not going to be a harm to anyone. It's completely nothing to be worried about, and it can never hurt you. How can you believe somebody who's saying that a plane hit the Pentagon on September 11th, 2001? You can't. So there you go. If you guys can't figure this out, you don't have any discernment, and you're not going to be able to figure anything else out. And for all the folks who go like, yeah, that's right, Chris. Everybody's a government agent except for you. Not everybody is. But everyone who's on YouTube, everyone who has a following, just like I always say, every time a political group has a name and you hear about it in the media, it has been infiltrated. And if it has not been infiltrated, it is more likely even that it's not infiltrated because something created entirely by the government from scratch, there's no need for it to be infiltrated. So, yeah, I mean, again, we're not, I'm sure there are fine people in Saudi Arabia, but I mean, these guys are getting silly now, asking stupid questions. David Duke, do you guys have any discernment? Yeah. I mean, it's a joke. I guess that this is the running joke in the chat room. Even David Duke's a government agent?
Asking about David Duke in the comments?
Yeah. I think it's a joke. I think somebody's like making jokes when they're doing this. Is David Duke a government agent? I mean,
Okay.
is Andrew Anglin a government agent? Is I mean, I don't know. They keep coming up with these new guys all the time. It's hard to keep up. The names keep changing. The lies and deception they keep saying staying the same. The stealing of legitimate work, twisting it around.
David
So
Duke, government agent, like Ron Paul is a government agent.
yeah. Oh, Ron Paul's a government agent. Right. It's like that guy who was like, constantly talking about we need to pass legislation to audit the Fed when he never talks about Title 31 of US Code, which mandates the only kind of audit that really matters, which are the physical assets of the Federal Reserve Bank, because everything else is just the helicopter money you see right now. Just the money created out of thin air. So when we ask, where's the gold? Why is gold the most valuable thing? We don't even know how much gold exists. How can you set a value of something when you don't even know how much of it exists? You don't know where it is. And then you go like, well, why don't we know how much of gold there is? Why don't we know where there is? Well, maybe we should pass legislation. Oh, yeah, that's already happened. That's called Title 31 of US Code, which calls for a yearly audit of all the gold and all the valuable assets of the Federal Reserve Bank. And guess what? It's never been done. So every time you guys waste the time signing petitions and attempting to get legislation passed that would happen every year, that traitor Ron Paul was in Congress. Oh, we need to audit the Fed. We need to. That's already mandated by law, but it never happened. So why do you need new legislation when old legislation is already mandated and it never happens? It's never happened. Title 31 US Code, yearly audit of all the gold and physical assets of the Federal Reserve Bank, never been done. Why are so few individuals tuned in to the misdirection of that? It's obvious misdirection. Obvious. I mean, obvious. We had a little run in. I noticed, what people like to talk to me about, and it is the titillating stuff, like those anarcho capitalists, Daniel Rothschild, Adam Kokesh, and their homosexual servants, like Seth, some dude calling himself Seth Michael and Colby something or another. I don't know. But in any event, yeah, check out those guys. Look into Daniel Rothschild, investigate that criminal, and you'll see behind all of these disgusting Ron Paul organizations, you're going to find a bunch of Russian Jews who are absolutely just leading you in the wrong direction and leading you down a degenerating path of slavery and servitude. Absolutely 100%. The Daniel Rothschild, the Independent Institute, funded by Microsoft. Daniel Rothschild, the the Cato Institute, Koch brothers, and then other work he's doing exclusively for the Koch brothers. But really, he's above them as far as I mean, is he blood related to the Rothschilds? He's definitely at least a second or third cousin, just by the name and by the fact that all the Jews are between third and fifth cousins at the very least. And they're not Jews. They are fake Jew, Khazars, Synagogue of Satan members, etc., etc., etc. But again, if you guys don't have any discernment, if you guys think this is a big joke, yeah, I mean, I don't mind joking around every now and again, but we told you, we warned you, and if you're benefiting from this system in any sort of way, I see you. I see you guys watching. I see you Freemasons. I see others part of organizations that should know better. and don't do jack but cash in like their parents cashed in. So, and I'll tell you how they cashed in, at a low level. And you guys don't do a damn thing about anything. You lose all your freedom and you don't do a damn thing. So, yeah, I mean, what I wish for is I don't wish for money. I wish for God's will. And from what I've seen, man, nobody's my leader. I definitely am other people's leaders. Anyone who's thinking logically and coming up with this stuff pretty quick, I'm definitely the leader of them. By blood, I'm definitely the leader of all those other group individuals that I've talked to. By my blood, by my exact and precise blood, by my exact and precise genealogy and ancestry. And not only by that, but by my actions and deeds and my standing, which I've established and cannot be argued with. So it's not just that I'm a man. I mean, that's what I am. And all men are above all governments. But I'm a special, precise kind of man. That's why I have this information. So there you go. Take it or leave it. You know, keep getting entertained. Keep following degeneracy. Keep thinking that the Bible says that God created man in his image, gave him dominion over all living things on earth, and then he created this thing called government, which is going to undo all of his best work, which is creating the natural world, and that God worships a simulation of himself that undoes all of the things that he created. Either you got to agree with us or you got to think that. Cliff, how is that? Is that pretty much it? You either agree that man is sovereign, man has authority and dominion over all living beings, or you got to think, oh yeah, God created man, and gave him dominion. That's true, but then his plan was to create something like government to undo all the natural law and all the natural order that he created, um, uh, and run by the mother of all lies, the synagogue of Satan, the adversary of God. And cool, you guys cool with that? Good, because that's what's happening. So you got to either go along with the system or you're with us. If you don't vote, I'm your leader. Yeah.
I mean, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it does. I mean, I don't know how better to sum things up. I've had enough. I really have, and you're seeing this. You know, we're not gonna give you this stuff for free anymore because you don't deserve it. If you deserved it, you'd still get it for free. You failed in the honor system because there is no honor.
If you deserved it, you've already gotten. If you deserved it, you've already gotten the best aspects of it, and you'll remember that there's archives on Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, there's archives.
One thing I plan on doing is when. Go ahead.
No, you go, Cliff. Go ahead.
One thing I plan on doing is archiving what I like, collating, ordering. I think some of the best episodes on Blog Talk Radio in a nice, and maybe if I get happen into some better like editing equipment again, edit some specials that will be available for those paying for the content.
Yeah. Again, I mean, and it's not paying for the content; it's paying for the maintenance of the information, because it's not worth it. And I'll tell you, everything that's important, you know, the specifics about what's going on tomorrow will be different than my analysis of yesterday. But at the end of the day, it's all the important things have already been said. I mean, I can't really patent, you know, how nature works. but that's what we tell you. You're misinformed about the hierarchy on planet Earth, and we're informing you about it. You're misinformed, and you think that the hierarchy goes government, man, God, but it doesn't. It goes God, man, all other living things, and government is something that must be done in small groups, and when done best, government is done on an individual basis by individuals controlling their own mind. Now, we've already established that there's virtually no discernment out there in the world, and that there's a war on discernment. And yeah, so we're gonna test it out. And hey, if 5 people pay for the service, I'd be happier, speaking to five individuals that are paying the lowball price that I'm giving them, the bargain that we will give them for our information, than 5,000 folks who are just gonna watch this and then have their brain rotted by watching some other simulation or imitation of this broadcast, where all of the worst elements are what is focused on. And so yeah, I mean, there you have it. Cliff and I are in contact. We shall definitely keep you apprised. We may even, I was told last night that we could even, have private broadcasts using Facebook. I'll also look in to see if we can do the same on Blog Talk Radio. I mean, I wish to do things the best possible way. Yeah, so that's it. That's what we're doing. We've told you about everything important, and this is the last Militia Intelligence broadcast. And from now on is the people of God, because it's gone beyond the political concept of militia, as everything always does. But yeah, we're gonna broaden our scope. Yep. Great. Hey, yeah. I mean, it's good that we're hearing folks say, yeah, we'd be happy to pay. And everyone who knows me, I have a documented history of giving value for money in all of my businesses, from my home healthcare business, out giving top-notch service at a fraction of the price that the abusers that you're now, I believe these folks are dying in the nursing homes at a higher rate. I've seen them killed in there. I've seen these nursing homes and rehabilitation centers killing individuals. They killed my last client. They killed him, and they killed him at the spot where the most COVID-19, the so-called COVID-19 deaths are. I don't believe they're all COVID-19, but I know that they're killing them. They certainly are. But in any event, my retail business, I would undercut give better quality at cheaper prices than everyone else. So the same will be the case for the pay to view broadcast, and that's the way everything's going now. I mean, they're charging $20 for the new Jane Austen movie on demand right now. $20 to rent it. So what they're saying is like, oh, you got to pay for the service to get it, and then you got to pay for the thing, and that's double a ticket for a movie that's already outrageously priced. Come on. So anyway, yeah, we'll give you that stuff. So we'll keep giving the best information, and sometimes we might even do important broadcasts, like do 15 minutes for free, and then go like, hey, this is everything you need to know to keep yourself safe. Now, if you want to know what's really going on, here, join us here in this behind this paywall. Um, and yeah, you guys owe me. You guys owe me for the past too, but I'm not expecting it. I gave that away for free. So you're welcome. And yeah, so let's get folks' final thoughts as we normally do on this militia intelligence report. We'll start with Daniel Gum, then we'll go to Matt in New York, and then we'll finish with Clifford in Mexico. All right, Daniel Gum, final thoughts.
Yeah, thank you for taking the call, Chris. And I just wanted to say that wish everybody a happy Easter and keep your faith and trust and hope and love for your Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. And most of all, I just want everybody to know that reference Exodus 22 through 17 and Deuteronomy chapter 5, 6 through 21, if I'm not mistaken, on those two chapters, on those two particular books. That lists the Ten Commandments of what we as human beings are supposed to be following on this earth. I know we're all not perfect. Namely myself, I'm not perfect either. I'm a sinner just like anyone else. But I still have my trust. Try to keep my trust in my Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. And this is the time where we're supposed to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and not government, not idols, not anything else that will be a blasphemy toward that.
Yeah, I agree, Daniel. Hey,
just gotta keep.
Sorry to cut you off, but I do want to get in one thing, because there are headlines all over the place that these 501c3 clergy are now getting bailout money. And this is InfraGard.
Right.
This is part of the Department of Homeland Security operations, and that these guys basically are now what, employees of the government. They don't just get the money, get the ability from government to print their own money and line their pockets and live like wealthy bon vivants. Now they're getting paid directly from that government teat. And so I did want to point that out, because I agree with you 100% in what you're saying, that this is we're celebrating the resurrection of God's Son, Jesus Christ, and what we're forced to do now is to pay these degenerate, and I say we because I pay sales tax, these degenerate, 501c3 clergy to not do their job. I mean, and what is their job to begin with? Is to misinform, disinform, to project and broadcast the devil's doctrine. That's what they do, and that's all they do. And the Ten Commandments, there's a lot more than that as far as the commandments go. They say that there's like thousands of commandments, and there's a lot more than 10 in the book of Deuteronomy. However, I like to focus on usury, because to me it all comes back to usury. You can apply usury to all the commandments, and again, with the Ten Commandments, God doesn't tell us, hey, if you violate this commandment, you're dead, or you should be dead, or you should be killed. But he certainly does say that about usury. So thank you for a reminder. Yeah, the commandments in the Bible are very key, but there is, actually, I should say, one can always apply all the commandments, and all the commandments, especially about what not to do, to usury. So thank you, Daniel. Cheers. God bless. Happy Easter. And we'll go to Matt now. Final thoughts. We're a little over, but that's all right. Last free show. Go for it. Yeah, not Daniel. Matt in New York.
Well, I just want to thank you again, Chris, for all that you've done for the past, I don't know how many years it is, 15, 10, whatever. And yeah, I really like what the last caller said, Daniel said about trusting God, and having faith in God, Jesus Christ, and remembering what Easter is for, and remembering all the commandments. There's hundreds in the Bible, and definitely make sure that you keep us posted on what's going to be going on with the new paywall show, all that stuff. And also want to apologize again for cutting off your outro last week.
Oh yeah. No worries.
That's it.
All right. Hey,
Pray
thanks.
to God.
Yeah. God bless. Thank you, Matt. No worries. I hadn't even thought that. Don't worry about that. But thank you very much. And Cliff, we're gonna give you final thoughts, or if you would please give your final thoughts, and then I'll close it out. And yeah, not much will change, except for hopefully we'll get this done by next week, if we can figure it out. And as far as broadcasting, and you know, putting our own honor system in, um, and we know that we're going to set the rate at something that everyone can afford. Everyone can afford it. Everyone, even me, even I could afford it, and I don't have any money. But you'll be able to scrounge up enough to get this information. And if not, we've already told you everything anyways. So you're welcome for giving that to you for free, and having it cost me money, and more importantly, time. Yeah, Cliff, go ahead.
So yeah, I'll be in contact with you, Chris, about other things I just thought of as far as how to utilize the DARPANET platform, Facebook, setting up private groups, and again, like if you're registered to like pay, like again, then you can have access to this group and other possibilities. But again, it's nice out here in Puerto Vallarta. I mean, they have gone harder with the police. They've blocked off the beach. They got some irresponsible kids with, and when I say kids, I mean police officers, like people don't know later than their 20s with submachine guns. Like it's disgusting. I mean, nothing serious has happened, but it's just more drills, more stripping away of people's freedom. I mean, if you think the slavery in the United States of America, the so-called United States of America, is bad, like imagine working for the equivalent of $6 a day, like that. So yeah, it's that it I've learned nothing more than what I've learned some more Spanish, but the stuff I already knew, it just becomes more true. The user resistance needs to be like neutralized, like at all costs, like by all lawful means necessary. So, peace, much love, keep searching for truth. I hope you all enjoyed the last free broadcast of the Militia Intelligence Report. Remember, if you really care about the information, for now, there's plenty of militia intelligence support you can marathon on Blog Talk Radio.
Thousands of hours.
We're gonna start getting the sort of paid content, paid membership of the people of God.
Yeah, that's right. We got to be able to maintain our broadcast, and not put all the onus. And I can't imagine working for less than $6 a day. I've been doing it. I believe I closed down my home healthcare business in 2014. So yeah, I've been doing that for the past 6 years, working for less than $6 a day. Longer hours than I presume anyone else who's listening. But yeah, so I can imagine that. But again, to me, poverty doesn't mean anything because, what you guys slave for is meaningless to me. My place is where I am right now, and my future place is in a palace, not in a mansion, not in anything less than a royal palace. Or you can stick with the same program and keep voting, keep that illegitimate Rothschild bloodline as your rulers. It's your choice. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to Cliff, Daniel, Matt, and peace and God bless. We'll see you next week. Cheers.